Hey guys, welcome back. My 9.5 will be 20 years old in a couple months. I don't think any of the rubber bushings and mounts have ever been replaced because it feels loose around corners, the suspension clashes over bumps, and something that's the most annoying to me is when I put the car in first gear, there's an ever so slightly audible clunk coming from the transmission area. It's also hard to get the clutch engagement point right in first and second gear because the car jerks back and forth very easily unless I'm super gentle, and it makes me look like my 15-year-old self that just bought his first manual transmission car.
And you killed the car.
So the next series of episodes will be about refreshing the transmission. It won't be a complete rebuild, obviously, because I don't have the skills, but also because it drives fine and it doesn't require a rebuild. I am going to try to do everything else to make it better. So first, I'm gonna start with the shifter alignment. This doesn't cost anything, and it's a great place to start when tackling any transmission issues. When the shifter is in neutral or in any gear for that matter, there is a lot of play and it doesn't feel very precise. The recent install of the genuine Saab short shifter improved a whole lot in terms of shift length, but it still has a ton of slop while in gear. So to check whether you need an alignment, first put your car in 4th gear, then pop the hood and locate the rubber plug on top of the transmission. This is the alignment hole. Mine was missing this rubber plug, which is a little concerning. Here you can actually see the linkages moving when I'm rolling through the gears. But putting that aside, remove this plug and insert a small Allen wrench or anything that fits in the hole to lock it in place. You need something that fits in the hole without too much play. Now my stick is in the hole. So now that the stick is in the A-hole and you're in 4th gear, you shouldn't be able to take it out of 4th gear if you did it right. Then inside the car, locate the matching hole on top of the shifter assembly and use another Allen wrench and insert it into the hole. And if you saw my last video, I said that I never tighten these 2 torque screws underneath this trim because for jobs like this, it's just so much easier if we don't have to do that. So all we have to do is just pull up on this and pull that out of the way. As you can see here, the stick is going in, but not all the way. But if I wiggle the shift rod a little bit, it does go in all the way, so that means I do need a slight adjustment. So assuming that your wrench didn't go into the shifter assembly inside the car, the next step is to loosen the pinch bolt that's inside the engine bay, and that's kind of buried deep inside, like almost next to the firewall. And it's gonna be pretty hard to show on camera, so I'm not gonna cut any footages out here and see if I can get it to show on camera. Okay, it's on camera right there. So I have 2 options here, a socket, a big extension and a smaller extension, and a 13 mil. And then I have another option, a bigger, longer 13 mil extension and a breaker bar. I probably don't need this, but the bolt is so corroded, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but we'll see. Here we go. Okay, this one is definitely not long enough. Okay, this one is also not long enough, so I'm gonna come up with some kind of contraption. I didn't know I had this, but this is an even longer extension. So this socket is definitely slipping on the bolt, and I don't think it's stripped, it's just that there's just so much crud on the bolt, so it's just slipping. And it also doesn't help that this isn't a hex socket. So I have engine degreaser and a metal wire brush that can hopefully remedy this problem. There's no way I can reach that with my hand. So I got that bolt loosened, and now you can see it's very loose. Nothing's really holding it. So I'm gonna put this in here and make sure it's in all the way like that. So this is like the right aligned position. So now it's time to tighten the bolt again to 16 foot-pounds. And after all these years, I finally got a torque wrench. It's a 1/2-inch drive. It's pretty cheap. It was like 20 bucks on Harbor Freight, and I think for my purposes it's really all I need. So it's a click type, and if I want to do 16, it's at the 10 and then go all the way to 16, and then you tighten this there. So now it's at 16. Alright, so I've been struggling with it because I just couldn't get a good angle on that bolt. So if you take off the plastic cover and jam your extension through there like that, you should be able to get a pretty good angle on that bolt. So now I'll tighten it to 16 foot-pound. So that is officially how to do a shifter linkage alignment. This actually made a pretty big difference and the shifts feel much more confident. But I'm sure you guys saw my shifter linkage. The rubber bushings are gone, and there is so much extra play while in gear, up and down and side to side. And after doing some research, what I really need were new bushings for the linkage. However, I think mine is so far gone that I would prefer just buying a new one and replace it. The linkage was redesigned in the middle of 2004, so it's a bit complicated on what you need to get, but I'll explain all of that in a future episode where I replace the entire unit. For right now though, the next thing I'm going to replace is the transmission torque rod bushing. This is from Genuine Saab, and I've heard nothing but great things about it, and it should make for an even better shifting experience, so stay tuned for the next episode. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, check out a few of my dumb stickers I made. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.